I thought this was a great quote. I just saw it recently, but it's life must be lived forwards, but can only be understood backwards. And a lot of people say stop looking backwards, forget about the past, but the past, who you were, what's happened to you is so critical. Understanding that is so critical to understanding why things are happening today and right now. So we'll talk about that in the retreat, but just to keep it simple here, we want to kind of get a basic idea of what is happening with each participant. So just read this as it's very easy. You just go in here and you make a list of issues that you've had that you know of from this lifetime. It could be from a past life if you're into past lives, etc. But most of the time you'll see it from your childhood. Even for me, I saw it from my childhood. So if I were to write this very, very quickly, I would say love and money are my two love, and I wouldn't even say money because I don't, thank God I don't really have problems with money per se, but wealth. I've always felt that I should be wealthy, that I was wealthy, that I cared a lot about being wealthy when I was young. And so these are the two issues that I've had, and I recently discovered or realized from past life situations why I have issues with love and wealth. But I always used to I mean, again, I don't want to explain too much here because I want these to be short videos, but I can explain to anybody in my past, in this lifetime, why love is an issue to me. And I always wish that my parents were wealthy. My parents were the greatest people to ever walk the face of the earth in my eyes. So, but they weren't wealthy. So, I mean, and so I always, like, when I was little, I'd be so annoyed, like, why aren't they wealthy? But now I understand and see why I thought that. Where not all young kids want to be wealthy or choose to be wealthy or think that they're wealthy or desire to be wealthy, and why I wasn't, and why I had chosen my parents in particular. So that's important. You can keep it simple or you can write a whole story, whatever is good for you. Then just explain the events that have occurred in your life. Explain why do you think certain things happen in your life. So sort of what I was saying before. I understand why what happened in my childhood happened. I understand it now, but if you understand it now, great. If you don't, then just explain the events that have meant something to you in your life. I could give you an example here. Again, like I said, I had the greatest parents. I think that just the two greatest people that I've ever met in my life, hands down. There aren't two other people in my life that I have met that are more amazing than my parents. They just are, and they were, and they loved each other more than I've ever seen any two people love each other. So I never understood why they were separated. They were never divorced. That's always my saving grace, but they were separated. And I never understood that when I was young because they never fought. I know they loved each other. It just didn't make sense to me. Now that I see my life unfolding, I understand why I chose that event in my life. Like my mom passed away when I was young, like when I was 21 or 22 or something like that. That event, although very devastating to a degree, was not anywhere near as devastating as my parents separating. And they had a great separation. They would still talk to each other. They were very good to each other. I would still, if I needed something, I'd go to my mom and ask her to ask my dad. So I saw my dad every weekend, so there's no abandonment issues or anything like that. But yet again, so you would think my mother passing away would be the worst thing that ever happened to me, and it wasn't. So fascinating. But anyway, not that it was a walk in the park, but the most devastating thing that happened to me when I was a kid was my parents separating, and I know why. And I don't think that that's necessarily true for every child, especially in today's day and age. I think it's become very common. So, but back then it wasn't very common. Anyways, so if I were doing this exercise, I would explain that event, and I would either from a perspective that I understand it, or if you're writing it, you don't understand it, just write what happened, and then we can go into it. And then in the retreat, we'll go deeper. And I will say that if no one or if someone does not want to share the details of their life, that's fine. Then you can just do it personally. You're not gonna I'm not gonna make somebody come to the retreat and actually share their deep dark secrets with people if they don't choose to. So you can keep it very personal if you want and just listen. And I'll just tell you my stories as an example. Okay.